Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out. From your neighbor to City Hall. Reach out, go vote, show out. Serving people is what it's all about. Reach out, go vote, show out. Frankfort civic proud. Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out.
All right, from Capitol Halls to Bourbon Balls, this is a City of Frankfort podcast for the Frankfortians. We're swapping stories, spilling the tea, and celebrating the quirks that make Kentucky's capital the best hometown around. Welcome to the City of Frankfort podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Today I'm joined by Matt Johnson and Rachel Moore from the Frankfort CARES Coalition. We're going to be chatting all about how the City of Frankfort supports nonprofits in our community and why the CARES Coalition is such a unique organization, from supporting many of our individual nonprofits to supporting services for those in our community who need it the most. CARES has established itself as an important resource in Frankfort, and the city is glad to continue supporting its growth. Welcome, Matt and Rachel.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, y'all ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right, so let's start. We'll start by getting to know you guys. Can you tell us what your positioning? We'll start with you, Matt. Just tell us what your position with CARES, and how long you've been with an organization and what brought you to it.
So I am the board chair. I have been the board chair since we had our first meeting in November of 2020. I like to start out each of our meetings by asking for a motion if anybody would like to take my position, but so far nobody has taken me up on that. But really, I became involved with CARES in 2020. I got an email about joining this idea of what CARES was, and it really kind of spoke to it. My paying job is I'm the family resource coordinator at Westridge Elementary, and so we deal with homelessness from a student perspective and their families, and so that really became kind of the tipping point for me getting plugged in and involved. But so in a non-officer role since 2020, when this was kind of an idea to us putting where the rubber meets the road and us starting officially in November 2022 as me board chair.
Okay. Rachel?
So my name is Rachel Moore. I'm the executive director of CARES since April, and I've been involved with CARES for a few years in different roles that I've had in the community. But what drew me to this position was just the ability to collaborate with different nonprofits. I really believe that the more we all work together, the more effective we can be. So I'm just thankful to be in this position and to be able to support other nonprofits. I have a nonprofit, and we work with a lot of the local nonprofits anyway. So I want to touch on also being able to highlight and advocate for nonprofits. We're working together, and there are different issues and struggles that we all face, and so now I'm in a position to be able to assist with that as well.
Yeah. I don't think people understand, like, nonprofit literally means nonprofit. There is
Right.
no profit there.
No.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just, it's the support of the community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation, and it just, like, without community support, a lot of these nonprofits, like, they're just going to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that some of our most vulnerable communities also go by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a responsibility we have as a community, is to take care of those vulnerable individuals. You may look at it, well, I just take care of my house. Well, but is that really what being a community is about? It's not. And I get to see it through the lens of at Wanda J. But of course, I also get to see it through the lens of in my professional role as a police officer. And I've been with the Frankfort Police Department now for 22 years. Been with the city overall for over 25. So you see just the way that the community's in need, and and it takes all of us. We all have a responsibility to help. I mean, if you care about people, if you really do, if you believe in treating your neighbor as yourself, I mean, we have that responsibility.
Yeah, and that's really where Rachel's come in as our director, and kind of where we're headed as CARES is trying to make sure that our nonprofits are sustainable. and that we take care of our people.
Mhm.
And by that, I mean we take care of our community.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the biggest misconception is that Frankfort Cares is just another nonprofit agency. It's actually something much different. And can you explain to us what exactly CARES is and how it functions?
Yeah, so CARES essentially is a coalition or collective. I think the word that we've used just previously, community. We are a community of nonprofits. CARES itself is not a direct service agency. We are not the ones providing services for those in need. Our role as CARES is to support the organizations that do provide those direct services. And so we act as an umbrella organization. It allows us to be able to apply for larger grants than what we could on what each nonprofit does on their own. We support the boards of nonprofits. We are not trying to take over anything. We are simply here to support them and help them be sustainable. And that's the big thing for us. So under the umbrella of CARES, we have all sorts of different organizations. ROSM is a member, Access Food Pantry is a member, Senior Center is a member, and there's so many more that I think we've got 30 plus members of CARES at this point, which is we've grown quite a bit. And the whole point is we want to make sure that they are empowered to fulfill their missions, and it's our job to come and support their boards. We support financially. I think to date, since our meeting in 2022, where we were firmly established as an organization, and we had basically $0 to give out, we've given out over $100,000 in the last 4 years to nonprofits in this community. And so our job as CARES is to make sure that those who are providing direct services to the most vulnerable are sustainable so that those people don't fall by the wayside.
I think an important part of what CARES does as well is collaboration. So with the William Joseph Crisis Nursery, if we're supporting a family and we're keeping the children, while the parents are navigating different issues, that's only a piece of it. ROSM helps with rent and food boxes and those types of things, but we all need to be working together, because if not, we'll be spinning our wheels, because we all provide different services, and then we can also ensure that the money is being spent correctly and effectively, so programs aren't being recreated.
Yeah, we want dollars to be impactful. And so we want to make sure that every dollar that we spend, one, is accounted for, but two, also has the greatest impact on our community. That we're not wasting dollars on administrative type things, that we are proactive in meeting those needs and collaborating so that those dollars do go farther.
Right. And really, if somebody had a need, or they knew somebody was in need, but they didn't know where to turn to, maybe exactly which nonprofit they should go to, really CARES could point them.
Yeah, and we have. So on our Facebook page, we get messages often asking, I need this, and our response usually is, unfortunately, CARES is not a direct service agency, but let me connect you with one of our members. And so we try to make sure that connection happens so that they can get the help that they need.
Yeah, one thing we've experienced in law enforcement, a lot of times when people don't know who to call, they call the police.
Yep.
But we don't always. But it may not be a service that we provide. So making sure, and that's why we have social workers on staff. You know what I mean, so that they can point those people to those resources. You know what I mean, and I know a lot of that starts with CARES. I know you guys work very closely with the police department, with our social workers. I know Miss we just had one retirement, but that we'll get that position filled soon. But a lot of times people will call and we just need to point them in the right direction.
Right.
And it's because it's not always like you say, CARES doesn't provide any direct resources, but we collaborate with all these people who do. So that's good to know. I mean, because a lot of people are just, I don't know who to call. Call CARES.
Yeah.
So what is the history of CARE? I think we kind of went over this a little bit, but on how it was established and Can you kind of touch base on
Yeah,
that?
so a little history. So this was kind of an idea that was birthed out of 2017 as a way for people in need to call and connect. And so it was originally a collaborative thing. It wasn't housed in one organization. As a matter of fact, I think emergency management was the one that kind of helped man the phone calls, and that number I think that still exists has changed organizations which would answer the phone. And then COVID hit in 2020, and there was kind of a shift with, okay, this thing really needs to take off because we are seeing an abundance of need in our community. We opened up gyms during COVID for people to sleep in. We just saw a lot of changes with COVID, and that's when I got the email about meeting. And I remember us meeting outside at Juniper Hill so we could, maintain our social distancing, and we all had the chart boards up and things like that. And so really from there, 2020, this thing kind of started launching, and the city, brought in a couple of consultants and talking about direction and making some SMART goals. And then the McNary group came in and was able to provide kind of a basic framework from that. And then I got an email from Blair with the city, and she said, hey, I need some people's names that would be able to sign on a dotted line so that we could get this ball rolling. And I tried to wait a couple weeks, and then I finally emailed Blair back, and I said, well, if you still need a name, you can put my name down on the list. And so my name went on the list, and then shortly after that, it became I was the board chair. That's what happens when you say yes, right? But yeah, so we officially launched on November 29th of 2022. So we were coming up on our 4-year anniversary as an organization. And then shortly after we were established as an organization with our bylaws and all that kind of stuff, we became a 501c3. So we had to get some things done so that we could apply for our 501c3. But since that time, we just have been kind of trying to rock and roll as much as we can, building up our membership, providing supports for our members, and looking at what comes next.
Right. All right. So tell us more about how CARES is set up. Is there a board? How often do you meet? Are there members? Things like that.
Yeah, so we do have a board. As mentioned, I'm the chair. We have a secretary. We have a vice chair. We have a treasurer, and then we have an at-large board member who kind of handles a lot of our committees and things like that, because we do have committees as well. So we have our board, and then we have different types of memberships that are available. But probably our biggest success and our biggest hire has been Rachel as our executive director, who kind of helps piece all of this together. So she's kind of the link between the board and our members, and the board and our community, even though we're all still engaged and involved. And so as board members, we meet with Rachel, communicate with Rachel, and then we have our meetings that usually happen every other month, just depending on need. So we are flexible enough that we can meet at the drop of a hat if there's an issue. And the example that I'll give is flood, right? So every year we schedule a CARES work day, and when flooding happened, immediately that agenda for the work day for CARES got put on the back burner and said, okay, this is what we need to focus on and do flooding. So but our members come together, and the different levels of membership that we have active members. Those are member organizations like Simon House, Access, that request funding from us, that can apply for grant funding from larger dollars. So we call those kind of mini grants is how we give those out. So they apply for funding for CARES. Then we have our partner members. They don't apply for funding. They are eligible once a year for what we call microgrants, and these are, $250 that we give out. We give out $250 to each of our warming and cooling centers, depending on the season as well. But we also make available microgrants for some of our partner members. And the reason why we did that is because every year Bondurant hosts Turning Bare Feet into Learning Feet, where we give out shoes to every kid that lives in the confines of Franklin County, and sometimes to kids who don't live in Franklin County but come to this event. And so that was a way for CARES to be able to get plugged into that event and provide money so that they could buy shoes, socks, whatever they needed for that thing. So we have active members, we have partner members, and then we do have community members as well. Community members don't apply for funding, any of those kind of things, but we invite the community to come and be a part of our meetings to find out what's going on. At our meetings every month, Rachel gives a report on the things that she's been doing and what's going on. We hear from our different members on what they've been doing, what's going on. There's always a financial update. But we are board run, but we are very thankful to have an executive director.
I understand that completely. Can you give us an example of what collaboration looks like under the CARES Coalition?
So I'll talk about situation table. We're very involved. Matt and Charlie and I are almost always at the meeting every Tuesday at the police department. That is led by Tricia Hamilton, the community policing advocate. But what we will do is identify a need. We'll identify a family or individual that is at risk, and then we will collaborate on how we can all support them. So with us maintaining that level of engagement, it helps so much with CARES because it's also accountability. So if someone is receiving funding for this specific program that they request, we know whether they're actually doing that or not, because we can send our families to them and see if they access the resources or not. But we're all different. I've been involved in different communities recently in Hazard and Louisville, and what we keep hearing from outsiders and what I'm noticing, Frankfort is different. And I think a lot of that has been the culture that's been created through CARES. We go above and beyond to support our families a lot more than other communities do, but the biggest piece of that is our collaboration and how much we care about each other. We all know that we work really hard and the work that we do is difficult, but we support each other, and I think it's on a whole new level, and it's exciting to be a part of it.
I know the situation table. I'm very familiar with it, which I don't, come to many meetings, but I do stop in from time to time just to see how they're going. But I know that model, is being copied. We had I think one of the meetings I went to, we had some organizations from another state, that kind of zoomed in just to see how that model's working. And that collaboration is working, because people understand, you have to do that. You have to do that because there's so many needs out there, and not every nonprofit or agencies are involved are going to be able to hit all those individual needs. But when you work together, you can.
Yeah.
And we're seeing lives changing from this.
Absolutely.
There are so many examples of, people getting higher paying jobs, sustainable housing. Their whole family's in a better place than when they first met with us, and it's because of the collaborative support that we
and we get to celebrate. We
Yeah.
celebrate somebody moving into an apartment
Right.
that used to be living in their car.
Right.
A couple other examples of a collaboration that I think of. When I bring back the flood relief, CARES has distributed, I think, we're over $200,000 in flood relief funds. We helped sponsor the South Frankfort Neighborhood Association Survivor Flood Party. I was part of it. When SNAP benefits were looking at getting cut, Rachel stepped up, and we've got the Frankfort Feeds, and so we've distributed money to the Emergency Food Pantry, to the Senior Center, to locals to continue to provide food boxes for our families. And all that money has flowed through CARES, and again, is accounted for. I'm big on accountability when it comes to finances and transparency. But all that money has been accounted for and has been distributed out, because it doesn't do any good if it just sits somewhere. We wanted to make sure it got out. And so between us and Rosam, that was flood relief. And Frankfort Feeds, we are continuing to give funds still for those things. And so that has been a big piece of the collaboration, is us just getting funds out to the people that need it so that their needs can be met.
Yeah. So you're kind of touching on this now, but let's dive in a little bit deeper here. I know a lot of people think CARES, they think homelessness, but what other parts are you all touching? What other needs are you guys addressing outside of just that?
Oh, I mean, like Matt said, there's over 30 nonprofits under CARES. So we provide services to families and children. Wanda Joyce provides, different mentorships, and those are super important so people have a positive adult in their life. We can help with the issue with affordable housing, utility bills, diapers, wipes. I mean, whatever the need is, if it's missing, that's the beauty of this. If there's a gap, we can work together to create a committee to fill that gap. So we try to make sure that everybody's able to have their needs met.
Yeah, it's like every organization is one piece of the puzzle, and then when we can work together and put those pieces together, it provides a better picture and provides an easier map to ways that we can help.
Yeah, for sure. So, what for the community members of our community out there that want to be involved in CARES or follow your guys' work, how would they do that?
So probably the easiest way is follow us on Facebook. Every Monday, there's a post on what's going on in Frankfort that is mostly what our nonprofits are doing in and around Franklin County. If they want to be more involved, they can send us a message there. They can go to our website, frankfortcares.org. There's a piece of the puzzle, we may be able to plug them in fairly quickly. And then the other thing is our next meeting is on August the 26th at 8:30 at the Public Health Center off of the East-West Connector. And so we invite people to come out and check that out and see for themselves kind of how this collaboration works.
Yeah. What about, just question here, because a lot of people time, like there's not enough hours in the day. You know what I mean? But I blow $20 a month on things that I don't even, if I look down my bank account, I'm like, oh man, I spent $20 here, spent $10 here, so it's not that big a deal. And they say, you know what, I could give $20 a month, but I don't really know who to give to or where to give it. Is that something that people can do through CARES? Is it something like, well, maybe I don't know exactly which organization I want to give to. Maybe I could just give it to them and they could distribute it. Is there something like a way that they could financially support CARES?
Yeah, we would be very appreciative of that support. And so probably the easiest thing to do would be to get in touch with us, send us a message through Facebook. You can email Rachel. Your email is rmoore@frankfortcares.org. And we can get you connected to our treasurer and figure out the best way to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that people don't realize how far a dollar will go. And all nonprofits, I don't know any nonprofits, it's just rolling in the dough right now. Like I said, it's nonprofit. So, we're always, nonprofits are always looking for funding. And the more funding that they can bring in, the more that they can give in the community, because there's always a need out there. I mean, I don't know a day that goes by that there's not a need in our community. So.
And something that I really like about CARES, at every meeting, Charlie goes over the budget. He goes over what's been spent, where it's gone, who's receiving the money, and for what. And so that transparency is accountability, and I just really like that about it.
Yeah. The IRS, they're touchy on nonprofits.
Oh yeah. We got our 990s all filled out. We're good.
They're touchy on nonprofits, so I understand that.
Yeah. If he's asking me to sign my name on something, we're gonna make sure that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the reasons CARES was established was to combine forces when it comes to grant writing and funding. So tell us a little about how that works for the member agencies.
So what I want to start doing, and I have a little bit, whenever a funding opportunity becomes available, I will notify different nonprofits. And I was kind of doing that anyway before I even stepped into this role. I would be like, hey, this opportunity is available, because I firmly believe that I can't do what I do if another organization over here isn't doing what they do, and we all need the funding. But I think when we can apply for grants together, we're much more likely to receive the money on a state and federal level.
So we do have a grants committee that works together to apply for grants. We've contracted with grant writers in the past. We received a Healthy for Kentucky grant for $50,000, and we hired an individual to be able to look at the impact of substance abuse and opioid abuse as it relates to homelessness, but specifically to the BIPOC population. And so that data is available for all of our members so that they can better address the needs of individuals. And so we collaborate often. I know we're using that word a lot, but we collaborate often to be able to apply for these grants. We may not always be successful, and that's okay. It would be nice to be successful all the time when you come to grants. But we do make an effort to apply for those bigger dollars so that those dollars can go further in our own community.
Yeah, and it's good to have somebody that's out there searching for grants all the time, because there's tons of grants out there. I mean, there's, you know, we look regularly for grants for law enforcement. You know, what grants are out there for police agencies, whether it's body armor grants or, you know, different things of that nature. But sometimes it's hard to keep up with them all, you know, and find ones that are applicable to you. Sometimes the organization has to be a certain size, or the community has to be a certain size. You know, like there was a great grant that came out for law enforcement earlier this year, but you had to service like a minimum, I think, like 250,000 people in your community. Well, we didn't even touch that. You know what I mean? So, you know, so
and we've run into that.
Yeah.
You know, and some of it is because we haven't been in an organization for 10 years or whatever it is, and those are some of the requirements that they get. But you know, what we found is we're going to throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see what sticks when it comes to grant writing, and so that's what we've done, and tried to get the most dollars so that our organizations can be sustainable.
And a lot of people don't understand that sometimes these grants, they're good for a year,
right?
You know what I mean? And then you have to reapply. Well, what if you don't get it next time?
Yeah.
You know, or maybe you get it, but it's not as much. You know, so you know, so sometimes being like and a lot of nonprofits are so heavily dependent upon these grants, it can get scary at times, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, we got a month left on this grant. We don't even know if we're getting it renewed yet. Like, what happens when this money's gone?
Right.
You know, it's scary. It's scary, especially when some grants provide staff. What happens when that staff member's gone? Because they're carrying such a heavy load. Like, it is scary, and I think that's why I would love for the Frankfort community to come together even more and help with funding some of these nonprofits. You know,
well, all of our board members, we work full-time jobs other places, as many organizations do. We don't take anything,
right?
So we're not asking for anything from CARES either. And so everything we're holding now is with open hands, going, look, it's not ours. It may pass through us, but we're not hanging on to it. Well, you know, we pay our executive director, and then everything else goes into our community.
Right. Yeah. Big responsibility. So the city supports our community nonprofit organizations every year through a subsidy program. CARES has received funding in the past from this. Tell us about how the city support has helped your mission and your work in the community.
Well, the city is the reason why CARES exists. I mean, they put the money up front for getting groups together, for bringing in consultants, for the McNary group, and even providing funding last year that we were able to hire Rachel with. And so that the city has laid out for us to be successful, to help accomplish our mission of figuring out this issue of homelessness and all the things that are added into it, whether it's kids, whether it's adults, whether it's substance abuse, all these different things. So thank you to the City of Frankfort, thank you to the community of Frankfort for helping launch us. And then, you know, what we've done and taken from that is, you know, we've tried to help make sure that our members are sustainable. And so, you know, without the city and their financial input, this is not possible. And so, we were the benefit of the Umbrella Project and Catfish Alley. So we have those funds that still generate revenue for us to this day. And that was a gift from the city as well. And so we were very thankful for the city and the city subsidy. And then we've, in turn, in our mission of putting that money to work. So we're not sitting on that money, it's going to work. And so we've distributed those funds to nonprofits, over $100,000 over the last 4 years, for different grants for the cities. Over $200,000 with our flood relief and our Frankfort Feeds funds. All those are going directly back into the community to support our mission, to support the mission that the city has really said, hey, this is what you're intended to do. That's what we're doing. We're the umbrella organization, and all of these funds have gone towards hotel stays for people that we collaborate with the police department with.
Yeah.
And, they've gone to trainings. We brought in implicit bias trainings for our members. They've gone to grants and these micro grants and these mini grants that we give. We've hired an executive director, flood relief efforts, flood relief celebration for things that far come. And then food, right? And so, all these things where grant funding has decreased nationally, we have been able to help sustain because of what the city has helped us with and because of what our community has helped us with.
And I can speak from my nonprofit, right as we were getting started, we were able to apply for a mini grant through CARES to help us get started. And we're providing services that were a missing piece. So when someone is just getting started, they can do that. And
Yeah. So on the micro grants, why do you think it's beneficial to award the micro grants through CARES rather than only awarding one individual grant directly to the city?
I think it takes off some of the responsibility of the city and puts that on CARES. And so when we launched CARES, everybody around the table knew the importance of sustainability with our nonprofits, and having an umbrella organization like CARES overseeing funds and giving out micro grants, mini grants, those enable us to have kind of some oversight that helps with sustainability. We can collect all this information from our members, and we can go through and go, okay, how does this program fit with what you want to do, and is it financially reasonable? Okay, if it is, let's do it. Let's cut the check. Let's do it as fast as we can. We can cut checks much faster than what the city can, right? And so, and that's just kind of the nature of city government versus a nonprofit organization. And so, we're looking at sustainability. We have the relationship with our members. I can call up somebody and go, hey, I know you're asking for this much money. Really, what's your bottom dollar? We can't give $25,000, but we might be able to give 20. Is that still doable for you? We want to make sure that this is a project that can happen, right? And we oversight of those funds. So each of our recipients of grant funding from CARES, they report to us on how they use their funds and where that's headed and how that's doing. And so we provide oversight there. The city doesn't have to have a person that is trying to keep track of all those things. That's what CARES does. And then we streamline the process. We apply once for city funding, and then our community members and our members here, they don't have to do that. They can apply to us, and then we can turn around and write them a check.
what I like about the way the process works in our jobs and in our day-to-day life, we're so involved anyway. So when nonprofits are applying for this funding, we know what the biggest needs are and where the money needs to be allocated because we're walking it and living it day in and day out.
Yeah.
Is there any, before we wrap this up, is there anything you all want to add on anything we've missed or?
CARES is not an easy organization to run. It's required a lot of work, but it has been incredible. And Rachel touched on this earlier, to see all of our community come together to work together. this is very unusual. Frankfort's different, and that's a good thing. Is you have groups of people within these nonprofits now that ego's being left at the door, so that services can be better. So I want to thank the community of Frankfort. I want to thank our nonprofits for having that kind of attitude and allowing us to kind of steer the ship in the way that it seems to be headed in the right direction of community and collaboration.
So if you're not involved in the community, if you're not giving back somehow, I highly encourage that you do. We are talking about how well we support families and individuals. However, those needs, we still struggle to get funding and we still struggle to meet all these needs. But really, when you start giving back to your community and get involved, I believe that that's everything. And it's very, very important. So if you don't know how to get involved, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help you get plugged in.
Yeah, some people, they're like, oh, I want to do something, I just don't know what. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm good at. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know what my niche is, or and we can, you all can help them find that.
Yeah.
Well, I will make my shameless plug here. Frankfortians that are watching this, listening to it, this is your community. Right here, what's going on in Frankfort and Franklin County, this is your home, this is your community. And there are so many needs out there, needs that you don't realize may even exist. And if you don't do anything else, cut back on 2 Starbucks lattes a month and give to find a nonprofit that lines up with something you'd like to give to. And if you don't know, give to CARES. They'll make sure that money gets utilized and gets utilized properly, and it goes through the proper channels, and that there is accountability. So just give $20 a month. It's something you won't even know that it's gone. But this is all of our community. It's all of our responsibility to serve and to give and to fill the gap in the needs that are out there. It's only going to make Frankfort and Franklin County better. Just doing that little bit, I promise you it's going to impact somebody in a positive way. And eventually, you may not see that turnaround, but I do believe that eventually you'll see that reward come to fruition in your own life. So that's my shameless pitch on it, man.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
And if
really
you can't support monetarily, you can always volunteer. We always need volunteers.
Always need volunteers for
Absolutely.
stuff. Always need volunteers, whether it's at the shelter serving food. That takes an hour, maybe 2 hours. One Saturday a month. You know what I mean? Just to go down and serve food. People they need those helpers. And that it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And sometimes it's just the reward may only be seeing the smile on the face, but you'll feel that reward.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You feel that reward. Like you were talking about getting to celebrate on the wins. Like you see that reward. Like I said, my involvement with Wanda J, like when I get a good report back of, hey, this child was missing school left and right, their grades were falling apart, but this mentor's been plugged into their life, and now all of a sudden they're making great passing grades and they're never missing school. Like you just you hear that report. I mean, and it's such a. I know it touches me. It touches me when we get to see stuff like that.
It makes it all worth it for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Matt and Rachel, we want to thank you so much for joining us today and for the important work that you guys are doing in the community. We look forward to seeing what CARES does and continues to do in Frankfort. We like to end each of our shows with Frankfort Rapid Fire. This is my favorite part of the show.
What is this?
Okay.
All right.
So, as fellow Frankfortians, we want to hear some of your takes on our town.
Okay.
So, you say the first thing that comes to mind, no explanation needed.
Okay.
Okay? Are
Okay.
you guys ready?
All right.
It's not hard, I promise.
I don't know. This might be the hardest question.
It's not hard.
Okay. All right.
Kroger, east
West.
side or west side?
West.
Really?
I'm on the west side. You
I
said
live
no
on the west
explanation,
side.
but I'm on the west side.
Okay, I'm on the east side. When I walk into the west side store, I'm like, where's everything? I can't even find the milk. You
But
know what
half
I'm
the
saying?
time they rearrange a Kroger.
They actually did rearrange the east side here lately.
And see, so just wait
I'm-
another 6 months, they'll rearrange it again.
Yes, I feel like every time I go into Kroger, if I'm without my wife, I have to call her and ask her where something is.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, been there.
All right, now this is highly debatable question. Best Mexican restaurant in Frankfort.
My Guadalajara.
I would say Casa Fiesta.
You guys need to up your game. Okay,
What's yours?
Garcia's.
Oh, Garcia's is good. And
Yes.
Casa.
Yes, I was there last night. I was at Garcia's last night. So, all right. Favorite Frankfurt event?
Event?
I got two that came real quick.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a liberty here and say two. But I love turning bare feet into learning feet, even though it is all of Franklin County, but it impacts Frankfurt. And so I love that event. We just got done with it last Saturday. And then Black Cat Chase is always a fun activity.
That
and
is,
event.
yeah.
And y'all are out there
I know.
directing traffic.
I know.
But it's just a fun
It
event
is.
for the whole community to come out and be a part of.
So this past year, it was definitely the sobriety festival that the William Joseph Crisis Nursery did with Bridging the Gap and One of Us. We had a huge turnout. It wound up raining, but the recovery community, it's just like a big celebration, and the energy was great, and it was a lot of fun.
You know, I don't know if I really have one. Maybe Bourbon on the Banks, because I love bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so, but other than that, I don't know that I really had one. Maybe being a police officer for so many years and having to work all the events has made me a little.
I don't know. What y'all do coffee in the morning?
Oh, Coffee with the Cop is a
Yeah.
great one. And Frankfurt Night Out. So we just had Frankfurt PD Night Out.
That's
But I actually missed it this year. I was out of the state, so I was really sad that I missed it. But I did enjoy my trip out of the state, so you know.
Win some, you lose some.
You know, exactly. So, but it's a fun event, and it's a way for anything that we can do in the community as a police officer. Anything we can do in the community that is just not just enforcement. I love that. You know what I mean? Like I love that. You know, because growing up here, you know, and like I'm a police officer by profession. That's my career. It's not doesn't define who I am as a person. You know, there's so many things that I am before I'm a police officer. Like I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother. You know, all these things. So it's nice to be able to have FPD Night Out and just the interaction that we get. Touch a Truck is another good one. Touch a Truck, you know, it's just another way to interact with the community that's outside of just I pulled you over because you were speeding. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
That's not the way that anybody wants to hang out with me. It's not. It's not. So, and I get it. I'm not offended by it. You know what I mean? So, okay. All right. Last one. We kind of slowed down the rapid fire, but on a Saturday morning in Frankfurt, where can we find you?
Well, honestly, I'm probably at home. But I'm watching Liverpool play in the English Premier League. That's
Seriously?
Seriously, yeah.
Okay.
We're big Premier League fans in our house, and Liverpool is.
Did you watch World Cup?
Oh, absolutely.
I did too.
I didn't eat dinner at my table for an entire month because we were glued to the TV.
So I just started back to the gym at Guru Fitness. So
Okay.
last Saturday I was there, and I'm making a commitment so everybody can find me there Saturday mornings. Where I would like to be is the farmers market. I took my kids, and it's so cool the way that has grown, and it's an awesome place. But if I'm not there, I'm probably at the Crisis Nursery working. Yeah.
I'm in my recliner drinking
Chilling.
coffee.
There you go.
Yeah.
See,
Maybe
my
on my
kids
back
don't want to
porch.
go anywhere in Frankfurt with me because they say I know too many people.
I hear that a lot.
So I'm at home.
Yeah, I do like my Saturday mornings with my coffee. Usually it's the gym after that, you know. So, but thanks for joining us this week, fellow Frankfortians. We'll catch you again next week on the City of Frankfort podcast. Don't forget to follow the City of Frankfort on all of our social media feeds, and make sure you subscribe to our show feed on Podbean to get weekly episode notifications. All right, thanks, Matt and Rachel. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out. From your neighbor